Welcome to Human OS Mind Your Health Rewired, the show that unpacks the hidden systems driving your symptoms and empowers you to heal from the inside out. I'm your host, Dr. Connie Chung, and after decades of inside the healthcare system and outside of it as a patient, I've learned this, that health isn't something you chase, it's something you remember. And if you're ready to rewire your body, reclaim your power, and rise above the outdated health norms, you're in the right place. Let's get right to it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Human OS Mind Your Health Rewired podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Connie Chung, and today I'm sharing something I haven't talked about publicly like this before. As you guys know, I love yoga, the practice of movement, and anything related to health and fitness. Really, anything that helps me feel alive, I say, is what I love. And today's topic is all about why yoga, the very thing I built my life, identity, and business around, stopped working for me. And how that heartbreak gave birth to something that saved my life. And so I just want to share this with you because I feel like everybody loops in and out of different trendy things, whether it be Pilates, yoga, fitness, HIIT workouts, whatever, of the fusion of the two. I've done it all and I've tried all of it. And I have to tell you, with my autoimmune underlying condition, sometimes some of the exercises, especially pertaining to resistive exercise with lifting heavy weights, those things really degrade and it has a catabolic inflammatory effect on me. And that's why I choose to shy away from it. And the more I know about the physiology and human muscles and musculoskeletal system and the whole metabolic process of the integration of the two, all the different systems of the body, I realize that the practice of yoga actually is the best form of physical activity because it allows you to handle only what you can handle. Like a lot of yoga inversion practices and a lot of hand balances and arm balances, I'm only accountable for my body weight, which I love that concept of I can manage my body weight in space and move optimally and functionally with a lot of tone, body awareness, flexibility, and mobility. That's all I need. So let's talk about part one, the promise of yoga. Let me take you back. I came to yoga like many people do, as a refuge. It helped me to slow down, tune in, and regulate my stress. But underside of it all, there was always this driving force of forcing my body into the poses out of the ego that was at play. I wanted to do that no matter what. And it was like that became my whole ambition and really trajectory. And that's all that mattered. I cared less about the physiology of being. And I really loved the way yoga made me feel. It somehow rendered me more clear. It energized me. And I felt like it was a lot more aligned. Like, I think seasoned yogis know, at first it becomes so much of a physical attraction where you get a lot of the highs from the movements themselves. And I think for me, some type of results must follow. Like I must see it, like muscle tone, the way I stand, the way I don't have any more pain, or some of the belly fat or any of the loose skin getting toned and tightened. And I can visibly see how it was making me feel and looked, right? And that's me being really, really honest. Also, it gave me a structure to build my days around. I became really obsessed with what was then called Bikram yoga. And I remember being so addicted to this hot yoga and the way it made me feel. And I just kept pursuing it and I just kept seeking it and craving it. And I eventually became so addicted. And here I am today, have my own method around the yoga practice. and I call it functional yoga medicine. And I created my own hot 75 sequence out of all the things that I've learned. But I think a lot of yogis come in, as I said, with a physical attraction, and then it really slowly taps into your mind and emotions, and then it taps into your core spirituality, where once it's touched, you can't go back. And it's sort of something that sort of calms and soothes and nags at you every time you get on the mat. And eventually, long story short, all my journey, I became a teacher, and then I became a mentor, and then I became a master trainer. I founded the school through Yoga Alliance at the 500-hour level, and I taught anatomy, alignment, breath, discipline. And I believed, truly believed, that yoga was the answer to healing until the day that it wasn't. Okay, so part 2 of this episode is all about talking about when yoga started failing me. And I just want to maybe inspire some of you that are falling out of your, love for something, because it was really hard for me, because there came a point, slowly at first, then all at once, when the poses didn't land. My breath became shallow. My body felt resistant. Everything ached and hurt. My body wasn't calm. It was racing. I was doing everything right on the outside, but inside, I was drowning. I can't even explain it. Only I knew what was happening, and I realized I wasn't practicing yoga. I was trying to perform it. I was using yoga to escape my body, not to return to it. So I think a lot of my students go through this phase where we get lost in the perfection of it all, and we lose sight of the importance of what it brings to our systems, and we forget why we started this practice in the first place, is to come home to our body. And if we lose that ambition, if we lose that North Star, something to seek, well, then we don't know what we're doing. At best, every day we're just repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, I might add, but it doesn't happen. And that's really what Einstein termed insanity, is doing something over and over again, expecting different results. And so when I bring the whole concept of human OS, or human operating system, it's like we have to upgrade our operating system to meet the new demands, new epigenomics of ourselves, and new evolutions of ourselves, because we're never going to stay static. As you can see, we are getting older, and I definitely see it in my 50s today. All the things that happen in my old, or not old, but in my 50s, it's very different experience than in my 40s and 30s. And I embrace it, but it is a little bit of a navigating and redirecting my thoughts around my body image and how it changes you hormonally and the way you feel. You're a little bit slower. Hearing, sights, all things get a little bit taxed, and you realize, this is what it means. And it hits you pretty hard for a lot of women, especially because we live in this perfectionistic culture. So let's delve now into part 3 of our episode, where I want to talk to you about the bypass culture. This is where it really gets hard to admit, because I had spent years teaching others how to come back to center, but I was skipping over my own center entirely, and it was happening unknowingly. I was spiritualizing my stress, pushing past the pain, breathing through red flags, using affirmations as an armor. And yoga wasn't the problem, but the way I was using it as a bypass instead of a bridge, that was the problem. And I know I'm not alone in this, because we often utilize something to feel better about ourselves, and we give all the reverence to the thing or the methodology, and yet we don't give anything back to the person performing it. We care less about, and that's what I call self-neglect and self-abandonment as a way to escape ourselves and the misery of, to put the emphasis or the attention on something else. It ultimately, for a short while, may make you feel better. However, it will never let the problem, or it will never take away the problem underneath. And time again, I would come back to meeting myself where I'm at, and I was still just as miserable as before, but I had escaped it. And that escape route became the thing that I was seeking, not to come back and tender to what was going on the inside. So now part 4 is what happens when yoga meets survival. Here's what most people don't realize. Yoga without nervous system awareness becomes another performance. If you're in fight or flight, you'll treat your mat like a battlefield. You'll push harder, chase the next pose, achieve a lot more. And if you're in freeze, you'll collapse into child's pose, not from surrender, but shut down. If you're in fawn, you'll mirror the teacher, overextend, ignore your needs, smile through discomfort. And I just want to say, this isn't healing. This is surviving on the mat, all the same. So now I want to talk to you about the breakdown that birthed functional yoga medicine. And then after all that, realizing all that, came my health crisis. Kidney failure, daily dialysis, total depletion. Every muscle that I've gained through all years of hard work was becoming mush, because if you know anything about kidney failure, it has a lot to do with protein and creatinine clearance. And we have a lot of creatinine that cannot be cleared. And so now we have to limit the protein intake. So it has a very catabolic effect, meaning all the muscles get broken down. And I had to fight that, and I'm still fighting it. But inevitably, it was taking hold. The longer you're on dialysis and kidney failure without a transplant, the faster things degrade. And I'm hoping for a transplant, but I can't control where that's going to come from or when. And so I just have to hang in here in this kidney failure, daily dialysis, total depletion, a body I no longer recognized, a nervous system that couldn't tolerate stillness. I tried the meditation. I tried yoga nidra. I tried gentle movement. Nothing worked, because I was still trying so hard to fix myself and putting myself up against the impossible task of trying to gain myself before kidney failure. So I realized the hard truth. I was going to have to upgrade my nervous system to meet the needs of myself today, and to build my new identity around who I am today, not the one before, and embrace all of it all the same. One day, I stopped, and then I listened, and that's when everything changed. That's when the birth of functional yoga medicine, powered by Human OS, came. Because I asked myself, what if yoga wasn't the goal? What if presence was the goal? What if I built a new framework, not from what I was taught, but from what I lived? And that's how functional yoga medicine was born. It blends the wisdom of yoga with the somatics, which is body-based awareness, functional medicine, root cause healing, trauma-informed science, nervous system repair, and coaching in psychology, rewiring beliefs. And we teach it through Human OS, a comprehensive system that meets people where they are and brings them back to wholeness. So now let's talk about what actually heals. Because here's the truth. You don't need a deeper back bend. You don't need a stricter routine. You don't need to force peace through breath. You need a system that honors your humanity, respects your story, supports your nervous system, and invites your body back into safety. Yoga doesn't fail people, but the way we use it without understanding the body's deeper operating system does. So, if you've been feeling, or if you've been practicing but not progressing, or going through the motions but still anxious, holding poses but losing your sense of self, you're not failing. You're evolving. This is the call to shift, to stop bypassing, to start to truly feel, to move from performance into presence. So how do you start? Well, if this speaks to you, I want to invite you to start again from a new place, a more honest place. And here's how. Start with a Human OS reset. You can take the Human OS scan first to determine what your archetype is. And then the reset guides you in a 7-day guided nervous system reboot that brings you back to your body, your breath, and your truth. And I want you to apply for YTT, Yoga Teacher Training, in September. And then we have FYMCP, the comprehensive YTT 300-hour plus FYMCP, all in one comprehensive program, FYMCP powered by Human OS, starting in October. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be felt. You need to be safe. And this is the path home. So at this moment, take a deep breath. And I just want to say thank you for joining me on Human OS Mind Your Health Rewired. If this moved you, share it with a friend. Tag me on Instagram, Dr. Connie Chung. You can subscribe to my podcast, this Human OS Mind Your Health Rewired. And you can also just sit and breathe and remember, you're not here to perform healing. You're here to embody it. There's a huge difference. Trust me, I've been one to live it on both sides, and embodiment is where it's at. Until next time, breathe deep. You're doing better than you think. And I want to invite you back here for the next episode, all about gut-brain betrayal. And there's so much that I share on Instagram. So follow me at Dr. Connie Chung, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to Human OS Mind Your Health Rewired. If something you heard today sparked a shift, share it with someone you love, or tag me at Dr. Connie Chung so we can spread this mission together. To explore programs, trainings, or resources to support your healing, visit HOSsystems.com. And remember, you're not broken. You're brilliantly wired for healing. You just need the right operating system.